Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Maxx.
So the book this week, we're doing book versus series, The Maxx by Sam Keith.
This is honestly, you know what, Jeremy?
It's
this is your
dark.
book. Do you want to introduce The Maxx?
Well, it's a dark series created by Sam Keith in 1993, I want to say.
3.
I actually was introduced to it from MTV Oddities before I read the book, and it really didn't matter because, well, until the series ended on MTV, it was almost exactly like the comic. There's like slight changes, like characters are different colors or something like that, but other than that, it's identical up until issue, I want to say 9.
11.
Is it 11?
11.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me, Drew.
You're welcome. You were doing great. I just wanted to I didn't want you to get lost with your facts.
You're the best.
Go team.
Go team. Follow the script. I mean, what? No, there's not scripted.
It's incredibly dark. Like from the villain to the good guys, everything is just. If you've not read or watched this show, you might want to. It's dark stuff.
It is, and it's so. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna quote Leo here. Like, it's a weird fucking book.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, what the fuck? What?
No.
Yeah.
Save it for next wave, Mr. Normality. Like, oh, excuse me, it's a weird. You go back to your comics code. Okay,
It's interesting. This is the first read of the Maxx for me. I remember seeing some of those MTV oddity things, and I remember always liking the art. And I was like seeing that first character that Leo had up a second ago of the cover art. I was like, okay, this guy's like a Hulk-sized Wolverine. And I had like I don't know why I thought that personality was going to be similar, but yeah, he is not. He is quite nuts. Like he's living an existence in reality, and then he's also living an existence in his head.
Yeah,
possibly another plane
or somebody else's head
altogether, which really isn't. I guess you have to read further into the series to know what the truth is.
Yeah, and it's so funny because when you think about it, I was like, he looks like the Hulk. He's got Wolverine claws. He lives like Spawn, and he has like the wiped mind of Wolverine.
I think that's why I got sucked in by him so much, by the likeness of Spawn to him.
You know, the whole living homeless.
Yeah.
You know, not really taking off his mask, kind of thing. And I will say, like, I do love the originals, but I've been reading because there was, I think, in 2013, which was celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Maxx. Sam Keith released all the same issues in volumes, which were retouched up, new stuff added and whatnot. It's cleaner. It's still just as dark. It's beautiful work. I mean, honestly, I know of Sam Keith's work. I know he did Sandman. I know he did Wolverine. I know he did some other Marvel stuff. And the guy he worked with, the other writer, was one of the co-creators of Wolverine. So yeah, it was just a great weird book, but you know what it is? It's really hard to describe because I feel like comics, there are 3 kinds of weird. There are weird, as in you're trying to imitate someone's weirdness. You know what I mean? Like you see the people and they're trying to be like Grant Morrison, like Alan Moore, like, you know, fill in the blank creator, instead of being themselves. And you have weird where it's definitely different, but it keeps you engaged. And then every once in a while, you just get the weird where you're like, what the fuck? And you can't tell if it's good weird or it's like, I might need to go back to therapy. Like, what the fuck? You know, or maybe I got to increase it to twice a week now. Like, jeez.
This scene
this is also not for the faint of heart. There's some serious adult content in this.
Very much.
Oh yeah,
this scene in the cartoon is so good.
Before you get into that, just to touch on the adult themes, even if you're watching a show, I mean, it touches on bullying, suicide, you know, kids with guns,
murder,
rape. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, I was just saying the scene with the cops and the animation, how they changed from regular cartoon to like this was almost like live action with animation going on. It was really interesting.
Oh,
in the back of the cab.
Yeah. The silhouettes. Yeah, it was like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 type of Yeah.
The way that Sam Keith did like the super realism with the comics, I mean, honestly, it was just so unique. And I honestly stick to what I said. I was talking to somebody about this. Like, this is the most faithful comic to screen adaptation that most people have never heard of.
Yeah, and also interesting, Leo, go back one frame for one more second. I'm sorry, I'm also going to mention,
and it's almost frame for frame.
In that taxi scene, one more frame back, Leo, with the taxi scene. There we go. In the movie, this part right here is filmed really interesting, where these guys are not cartoons; they're just blacked out shadows. And then you still see his back there as a cartoon. So it's like they were mixing the media on this so many years ago. Jeremy, what year did you say this was? I'm sorry.
93.
93.
Yeah, the comic came out in 93. The MTV series was in 95, I believe.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So the series came out first. Because I definitely knew about the MTV before I knew about the series.
I thought they were a lot closer in release.
The Maxx. I have to be honest with you. Seriously, I don't think I can read the comic now and not hear the guy who voices the Maxx. his voice, I believe, is Michael Haley.
And Michael Haley is only listed as voicing
the Maxx.
The Maxx, and It Listens from the Radio actually came out last year.
Oh
wow! The Crunch Punch.
Yeah,
he should get him on the show.
Yeah,
no, him, and then Barry Stigler was Mr. Gone. I mean, what
Mr. Gone? Talk about a character.
Yeah, what it was just like, I was like, this is just like an SVU version of Doctor Strange.
Right.
Like, just that's how I looked. I was like, you're a murderer, you're a rapist, you somehow can do magic.
Fucking creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
And it never really explains what are those isps. Nobody really explains what they are.
The isses?
Isses.
Yeah,
little,
the isses.
In the
Pangea,
some reality they are white, but when they come to our reality, they're black and they eat people.
Yeah, they're in our realm, they're meat eaters.
Yeah, and they the normies see them as whatever they're dressed.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, right. The grandma.
It's like I had to cover them with boxes so they don't look at two grannies stuck to their teeth onto a dumpster.
Right.
That's hilarious.
And this is a perfect example of the pages that Leo has up now about, like, the right side is reality and the left side is Max's fantasy world or alternate reality. So this is her in real life, and this is, like, to him, the goddess.
And it's actually, as we come to find out later on, it's all her dream. Like,
hey, spoilers.
God damn it, Jeremy.
Are we not allowed to do that?
We want people to read this.
Oh, I'm
fucker.
sorry. God damn it.
Go back to your box,
Well,
Jeremy.
To be honest, like even if you watch the show, it's unanswered. You know, it's like I didn't read the whole series, but I know on the show it's unanswered whether it's her dream or not. I thought like the last scene.
Oh, I could really mess you up with what goes on with her.
Jeremy, don't.
Like the whole connection between her and the Maxx.
Oh
my God.
Well, I kind of okay. So like her and is like she related to Sarah, and like
well, why
not
you
exactly.
For people?
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys can talk about this later.
Just read the book, man.
Read the book. It's great.
You know,
it goes into some messed up stuff.
Although I will say, I know, like again, I'm going to finish reading the whole series, which at my rate I'll get it done by the end of the week. I'm also curious to read the crossover they did in 2018 with Batman.
Yeah, I've never read that actually. Justin Cooper was talking about that in the chat.
Yeah,
have you read that before?
No, I've never read that, and I'm kind of curious because it's just funny because I'm just imagining like Michael Haley's the Maxx, just who are you? And then you have what do you want? Batman. You got the what is this nut doing? And it's just like, why are you purple? Just this nonsensical judgment. Two grown-ass men wearing costumes, beating the crap out of criminals, suddenly in the same room as each other. I'd just be like, well, this happened.
So apparently there was 2 series with Batman and the Maxx. So you have Batman and the Maxx, the Lost Year Compendium, issues 1 through 3, which came out in 2020.
Okay.
And then Batman and the Maxx Arkham Dreams issues 1 through 5, which came out in 2021.
Nice.
Let's see. Besides the other appearance of the Maxx and Comico primer, let's see. Darker Image. Anthology.
There's one more thing I wanted to add, Leo, as a little tidbit for people who might want to read. I don't know if you guys know this, but out of the 35 issues, one of these issues for the Maxx was written by Alan Moore.
Oh, did not know.
Issue 21.
Okay.
So, because Sam Keith was one of the co-writers, and then Bill Mesner Loebs, he's the other guy in that. Or Bill Loebs or Bill Mesner, yeah. He was, the other collaborator, and I was just like, wow. But like, it's always so random, that he always pops up, Alan Moore, like around the 90s. Like I remember when he wrote a couple issues of Spawn or some of the Image stuff. You're like, Alan Moore here?
Drew, do you think like his assistant just calls random people to be like, yeah, Alan Moore wants to write a few issues of what you're doing? They're like, okay.
I feel like back at the 90s, that would have been like, yes. And then again, from what I remember, Rich, when we spoke to Bart Sears, confirming what I've read about Alan Moore scripts being, I believe Klaus Janson once said it was like a phone book.
Yeah, he said it was quite thick.
Because Alan not only would include such detail, and he would basically paint you the whole picture. He would even do little thumbnails to help you, so you just realized his vision. And I'm just like, okay, wow, like okay, like the man has a vision, and if you don't want to meet it, out, get the fuck out.
So,
yes.
So
and
Carrie
since you mentioned him, we are gonna hopefully be, as far as I know, by the end of the month, we'll be seeing Bart Sears here on the show for a full length interview. So check it out.
So Carrie says it really hits you mentally more in the way that a great movie can, only in each episode. You need to break down between the process. I totally agree. And if you're wondering, a severely damaged The Maxx action figure won a battle royale hosted by a 5-year-old in my living room. His final opponent was a hand puppet, Cthulhu, and Cthulhu was thrown completely to the other side as the Maxx roared in his glory That's how badass.
Okay, wait, Carrie, to be fair, he did say in the show, they've got squid.
Yeah.
You know, when they're going to the aquarium. So clearly he was ready for a rematch.
So they don't really cover it in the comic, and you were right, Jar Jar. Like the TV show and the comic, like essentially word for word. But the TV show really did some awesome mixed medium. Changing the drawing styles, even doing like a Looney Tunes segment, which was hilarious.
That was great.
That is in the comic though, Leo.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah,
and
it's
in the Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, that's Max's favorite show.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because Julie's yelling. I was like, you're gonna have dreams, this cartoon in your head, and he just wakes up and it's rhyming. I'm like, oh my God. Like the Maxx meets Dr. Seuss.
That was funny because I was watching that episode today and I was just thinking, oh my God, we're watching Etrigan. We're talking about Etrigan later on tonight. There's the Maxx as Etrigan. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's a lot of rhyming. And I have to ask you guys, just because we're talking about it, who was, besides the Maxx, who was your favorite side character? Because I thought the part of Sarah was written very well. Like I was like, wow, this is a teenage girl.
I have to say they really did do well doing Sarah in like divorce, or not divorce, kind of loss of a parent mode and everything. That was like that scene right there is some fucked up shit in the cartoon.
And on top of it, like I thought that, what was it? One, making fun of Sandman, I thought that was great. Two, I just felt like they got that mindset of a teenager, like that scene with her friend where I guess he humiliated her at a dance.
Yeah. F it, I don't care.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even that. She was like, if somebody had asked me, I would have done the same thing too.
Yeah. And the honesty of it.
Yeah. And
the peer pressure too, like,
okay,
whatever's going on.
Guys, help me out here. When we keep seeing the carjackers, is that a Dark Knight Returns reference? Because they do
look like the mutants, don't they?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that. I was like, yeah, I was like, the fuck are the mutants from Dark Knight Returns doing here?
Well,
and then they
turned some kind of like ode to Frank Miller.
Well,
yeah.
My thought was, I mean, it was the 90s, so it was like, it's. You also had Geordie LaForge that had that,
true,
that mask. So yeah, it could have been just the 90s in general, just people being, people.
Yes.
And Drew, to answer your question, for me, the side character for me was Julie, especially when she's sort of in that torture situation where she's breaking Mr. Gone down psychologically. She's like, oh, you just have a problem with women. And he's like, of course I have a problem with women, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. It's like, oh, she's tied up and she's a fucking badass.
Yeah.
And I mean,
look, it's the space whale.
Yeah, or is a Goodyear blimp.
Yeah, I was like, the fuck is there a blimp in the city? Like, like that always. I want to just point that out to you guys. That always really got me in the old Batman. I was like, what city has giant blimps just parading around? Looking at shit. I was like, no, this is a plot device. Fair and square. Like, don't act like it's anything else. Okay.
Did Batman the animated series begin that, or was that start before that?
It's really hard to say because the first time I remember seeing it was Batman animated series, but it could have been.
Like, did a really cool thing with it in like the alternate universe, as if like we used blimps to travel around because the Hindenburg thing never happened and all that.
I don't know.
No.
Nah. But
that might be something good for me to research because I I did one Batman project recently where I found out all the times he fought a shark. So,
What?
Oh wow.
yeah,
Does he
I
have a
did
lot of Bat Shark?
on a Dork Night episode. We
Okay.
yeah, every time Batman fought a shark. So I'll dig into that.
We're doing good, guys. So still 20 minutes to go.
Awesome. You know, the one thing I do want to say is I felt this book really handled trauma very well.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't think. I think it was very still new for superheroes, you know, because
especially at that time.
Yeah, because we've seen trauma, you know, Batman's parents dying, Superman losing his planet, Peter Parker, Uncle Ben, whatever Wolverine's dealt with.
This was something.
You know, this was different. This was, you know, it wasn't just Max and his trauma, which we do get into later, and I agree with Jeremy, it is fucked up. But
everybody's
Julie's, you know, like her trauma is so strong that we've seen this, and you know, it was just like, wow.
And her reaction to it is so real.
And the same thing with Sarah's reaction. You know, she lost her dad. What does she do? She shuts down.
Yeah.
You know.
I just have to say, the fucking rabbit. Oh my God, that killed me right at the end. I mean, like, what the hell?
Leo, you get startled so easily.
Well, I mean, I have a thing for animals, you know, is like,
but not snakes.
Yeah, not snakes. No, snakes. Yeah, no, they're.
How about that one scene where he stabs? We don't know it at first, but he just stabs the mannequin through the CPR mannequin through the head.
Yeah,
that was so funny.
Oh my hostage!
By the way, that character was hilarious too. The guy, the kid sitting there at the gas station.
Yeah, I was just like, it's like, you killed my hostage. And he just keeps repeating it like, I was gonna do that. Like, and then at the end he shoots him and just, now don't do that again, bastard.
That was smart thinking, mister. That hit my CPR dummy. You knew that was a dummy, right?
Right? Dummy. Yeah. You know, oh my God. It's just, and speaking of Leo, I loved in the Sarah episode the little change that they made. They had Max just sitting there watching Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was just like the little details, and that's again my feeling about adaptation. You can make changes just as long as they fit the narrative, you know, and contribute to the story. Versus you just make changes so much. I was like, is this even the same story? Is this one of those loosely based on
the works of?
Yeah,
I wonder, has Image Comics reused the Maxx in recent times at all?
They definitely did as Drew was saying, the Maxx Maximized, where they redid all the issues, but nothing. I don't believe anything new.
They didn't guest star him in something Youngblood or something.
So let's see, cameos. The Maxx has made cameo appearances in the graphic novel Pop Bot, which Keith co-wrote. It's an independent comic. Armature, the Sonic the Hedgehog comic.
That was a Sonic Image crossover, Leo.
Correct. Blood Wolf #2, The Savage Dragon #28, Troll Halloween Special #1, and he also appears in the series Mars Attacks.
And it's also important to note that at one point they were talking about doing a movie based on the Maxx. This is back in 2019.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Channing Tatum and Roy Lee were talking about doing that. So I was like, okay.
And I mean, I'm not going to pass judgment on anything until I see it these days, but like Channing Tatum is not exactly who I would have guessed to be talking about doing a next series.
Well, listen, remember, produce, so not story.
Just as producing. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
did we mention his first appearance as Darker Image #1?
We did.
If we didn't, now we did.
There we go. And I will say I did like that they adapted the story from the 0.5 issue was the second part of, I think, one of the Sarah episodes, which was the two little kids talking about the Maxx's origin.
Yeah.
And then
was so cute.
And then he scares away the crackhead.
Yeah. Crackhead Jerry.
Right. So are we ready to crowbar this bad boy?
Yep.
Or what are we gonna do? We're gonna claw it.
Do you want to rate it? Do you want to rate it? How many something jumbo theme?
A bunch of ises.
How many ises or how many glued claws?
Let's go.
There you go. This always happens when I glue my claws.
This always happens when I glue my claws to something. Oh wow!
So Leo, you want to set it?
Yeah, we'll do ises.
Glad everybody had fun watching and reading this.
Oh yeah, no, it was great, man.
Yeah, so
it's funny with such a dark tones and stuff. It has also a very good comical light side to it.
Yeah, I agree to that. So Leo, what do you think?
Yeah, so just to recap, the original run I believe was 35 issues.
Yes.
The TV series was 13 episodes, which what did that cover, Jar Jar?
1 through 11.
1 through 11. Okay.
Yep.
And from what I've read,
it changes the ending for issue 12 and 13 changes like the ending up because it was the series was being ended and they didn't know if they were going to get a second season, so they went ahead and just slammed something together.
Yeah. So kicking it off, I'm just going to say that this really shocked me how much I enjoyed it. When Wolverine was out and Sam Keith was doing Wolverine, I didn't care for his art whatsoever. Yes, Drew.
Why do you always say that? Like you hate comics? Like, wow, this really shocked me. Like I wasn't expecting. Like, do you hate comics, sir?
No. I went into this thinking like I didn't really care for Sam Keith's art to begin with.
Okay.
And I went into this and it could have been just the Wolverine medium, because I was used to other artists handling Wolverine and I just didn't care for his like big, bulky, hairy Wolverine.
Right.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this. The series was pretty fucked up. But it's, it was definitely worth the read and the watch. And I'm going to give this 4.3 ises.
Excelsior!
That's all right. Good amount of is.
Yeah.
And for me, I actually enjoyed the art more than I enjoyed the story. I felt because I read the comic first and I read the first 6 issues. We were only supposed to read 4, but I went a little ahead. And I felt like I kept having to go back to understanding what I was reading. And since like the whole thing is a mystery, and since I never got to the end, I felt like for me it was a little lackluster. Like I don't know that I would have hung on even in the 90s to get to the end in like 30 some odd issues. But it was weird. It was different. I love the art so for that reason, I'm only going to give it a 3.5. Ises.
Okay.
And for you, Drew?
For you, Drew?
Oh, you can go first, Drew.
Well, before Drew goes in, so Velvet, would that be 3.5 smushed ises?
Absolutely. meat eating. Mine are meat eating ises.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give this sweet little read a good 4 ises.
Excelsior!
Because it brought me back to the 90s. I'm very nostalgic of the 90s.
You know.
I saw the show before I read the comic, and I think that's probably why I was able. I can understand Velvet having a little bit of problem reading through, because the way it is written versus when it's played out in the series, I think it's a lot more cohesive in the series. Like,
yeah, I agree. I thought the animated spelled it out much better. That is a great point, Jeff.
But I think that's why I did hold on throughout the entire series of the comic, though, because I was able to watch that, and it gave me automatically like, oh, I got to see where this is going, what happens next. And the end of it is crazy. Just when you find out the connection of everybody and why this is all happening, you're just like, oh my God, talk about dark. And that's all I got to say about that.
And how many is that?
Oh, I gave it 4. 4 is of nostalgia.
I'm honestly gonna go with Leo. I very much enjoyed this. I'm gonna finish reading the whole thing finally. So that's my goal for this week. I thought the series is great. I thought it's on the same level of well adaptation that I felt the Spawn HBO series is. At least the first season just nails the feel, the vibe, everything. 4.3 for me, and that's both the comic and the show. Excelsior! So I definitely will recommend this to any of our 90s nostalgic nerds as a nice little I wouldn't say this is a Saturday morning cartoon. Maybe a Friday night 3 a.m. watch.
Yeah.
But
not for the children. Definitely not for the children.
No.
But definitely
unless
great.
you enjoy explaining that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but definitely great. Very, very well done. Very weird, but with a really good heart behind it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's me. So, yeah.
We did it, guys.
We did. Holy crap. Well, for those of you watching,
finish the show.